Jody,
What's up, Brian? How you doing this morning?
hanging in there, buddy. How about you?
I'm doing pretty good. Um, hey everybody, happy Tuesday because normally we're on Monday, but because yesterday was a holiday in Canada, hey, our holiday is next Monday, so we may have to. You know what? I can do next Monday actually because ain't nothing going on at 9 o'clock in the morning anyway around here.
Well, I
So
was hoping you were going to say we'd have to push it to Tuesday anyway because we need your holiday as an excuse because I'll be on a plane from Toronto coming home.
okay, then we can push it back. Memorial Day it is. So, but anyway, everybody, welcome to the show. Glad you guys could check in. Jay Clean, Marco GT5. As always, before we get down to business, please do not forget to like and subscribe.
That's right. And Jody has the link to his channel in the video description, so check that out. Make sure you hit subscribe there as well.
I think I'm at 707 subs.
You're getting there. You're almost monetized.
But we're getting there. We're getting there. Maybe if I need that one big match and I pull a rabbit out of my hat, that might get me over. But we'll see.
So where do you want to start? We have the green light to talk about all of the Dark Card 2 matches from Neil Pickup himself. However, we will segue into that just by simply saying if you want to see those matches, we definitely encourage you going over and checking out those matches for yourself by becoming a member of that channel.
Yes. Now, being subscribed and being a member are two different things. So, Jay Clean, hey, way to keep it real, man. Way to keep it real.
You know what he's referring to, right?
Mm-mm.
That's my other podcast where I talk to local businesses from my community.
Ah, there it is. There it is. Before we get into the ARMWARS Dark Card, because that's going to be the main event of this show, but you also put down IFA and WAW.
I want to keep talking about that. I want to give an update every week. And unfortunately, I don't have a ton of updates. You see IFA is holding their Europeans coming up. WAF held some event in Mexico where there was a couple of guys from Canada that went down to it.
Yeah.
We're at a standstill again, as usual. And I don't know where this is going to end up. But, I mean, let's just mention the fact that what are we up to? What is the nationals count in the United States right now?
Like 4, I think.
4 national championships.
So
I thought I counted 5.
Let's go through them. You got the IFA. There's one. You got the United States National. That's the one that qualifies you to WAF. There's 2. You got the PAL Nationals, the one they just had in Las Vegas by Sean Hancock. That's 3. You got the U.S. Amateur Nationals, which at one point amateurs and they're all at one big umbrella, but they're separate. So there's 4, and I guess
was there a sit down still?
There's still a sit down. So there's 5.
That's 5.
And I know that Bill Collins has one out, but I think he altered the name. At one point, I think he did call it the Nationals, but I think he altered it, the U.S. Open Championships. That's the one where if anybody finishes first place in their respective open classes, then they get championship rings, which is pretty cool. The ladies, if you finish first open class, they get championship pennants.
Why do you think it is? And first question, I guess, is there any other country in the world that has more than 2, and I'll say 2 because I get the fact that there can be a nationals for WAF and a nationals for IFA.
Mm-hmm.
But is there any other country in the world that has more than 2 national championships? And even that question is ridiculous because it should be 1.
Right, and I think it's getting to a point where they're getting watered down again. It's even worse now than it was before because back in the day, AAA, at least in the States, was the gateway to the WAF championships. And then something happened, and then it went to the unified. So the only time it was good to have 3 nationals in the States where we had that triple crown going on. Were you aware of that?
Yeah, I remember the Triple Crown. Yep.
So if there was like money involved, so if you won first place at the Unifieds, at the USAA Nationals, the one that Denise and Leonard put on, and you won the Unified, then there was money at the end of the pot. So people like, I think Brent Rakers was like a 2-time Triple Crown winner. So there's that. That's the only reason why it was pretty cool, because now you can sit there and go, hey, I've won nationals in every organization. Now, it'd be
Didn't
kind
Gary
of cool.
Roberts have something to do with that?
Yeah, I think they all put like money in the pot. I think Bob Brown was a big promoter of that kind of thing, I believe. But now it's almost like, and my goal, my whole plan for 2024 was to attend the IFA Nationals next year. But now with all these other ones coming out, do I want to go? And let's just say I go in and win, Ryan, okay? Because I'm going to go there. I'm going to pull open, but I'm going to go ahead and pull Masters, and hopefully I walk out of there with a win. I would feel like, yeah, but, so there's nothing more aggravating, but, oh, yeah, you won, but what about this guy? Because the joke, the story about USA tournaments here about their nationals was that you get 3 guys that go to a diner and they get a bite to eat, and the waitress comes in, hey, what are you guys having? Yada, yada, yada. And everybody's wearing their medals. Hey, well, what's this for? Oh, I won the AAA Nationals. Oh, okay. And what about you? Well, I won the USA Nationals. What about you? I won the Unified Nationals, but they're all in the same goddamn weight class. And so the waitress was like, well, how is that possible? That was the running joke and made us a laughing stock for a while. But I think if everybody got on board, it'd be fine. Problem is, when WAF started doing their dumb shit, that's when it's like, fuck this, we're splitting up. We're going to do our own thing because WAF is being stupid. To each his own, if I go there next year to IFA Nationals, I'm thinking, I don't want to go there and then like, okay, the attendance is like not there. You know what I mean? Then I win. I'm like, yay, I don't know.
Well, I think the WAF, or the IFA Worlds will get bigger.
Yeah.
Probably quickly. All they got to do is change their marketing machine just a little bit, and I think it will grow a lot. I think you're going to see a lot of the big names at WAF are not going to go back to WAF because they have moved on into the pro ranks and possibly will not return.
Mm-hmm.
Because, it wasn't that long ago you could see guys like Levon, like Vitali, all those guys competing at the WAF championships. Even all the Latvian guys. But you might not see that much anymore.
I think if it's still a dream for some of those guys, you'll still see them. But now with Ingen taking off with East First West now, that's a gateway to like, hey, maybe I want to do that instead. Or, for a lot of Americans, some of our heavy hitters, because I think the question was always like, how come Team USA doesn't have a super team like back in the day? Well, because there was no other organizations back in the day. But now when you have, you can even start back when they had WAL, UAL, when they started giving out all this money, and guys were saying, wait a minute, you mean I can stay in the States, make all this money instead of going there on my own dime and come back with a medal, if that. We're just at this point now. And then our heavy hitters like Ron Bath has a WAF title, Brzink, WAF title. You got God, who am I forget? Dave Chafee, WAF title. Travis Bajan, WAF title. Jerry Caderet, WAF title. Those guys don't need to go there again. They've been there, done
Does
that.
Jerry have a WAF title?
He's won 2 of them.
Okay.
Both of them. He won in 2000 and he won in 96. Both were in Virginia Beach, by the way.
I would be curious to see, Jay Clean, yeah, left-handed Jay Clean, Brzink's WAF title. But if you were to take the current crop of super heavyweight or even any top arm wrestlers in North America, how many of them that compete at the highest level in East versus West or King of the Table have WAF titles? And we're talking like, yeah, we can say Dave Chafee, but Dave Chafee is like one of the last guys that did it.
Yeah. Well, no, not really. Because Cody Merritt, didn't he win a WAF title too?
Yes, he did.
So actually, Cody would be the last one.
Yeah.
But I mean, and we're talking like supers. That's where everyone goes to anyway. Because I know Vosgin. I don't know. I think he's won a WAF title before. But yeah, man, our guys it's just different because we're going against countries where they eat, sleep, and breathe the sport, where we kind of do as a hobby, but we still got 9-to-5 jobs that takes a precedent over that. You know what I mean? So
Yeah. That's
Jay
an
Clean,
interesting argument, though, because I think there's an attitude that if the average North American could have their basic living expenses paid for and they could train all day long, they'd be a WAF champion. I don't think that's the case.
we weren't raised like that.
Well, I also don't think that people understand that you can't just train all day long.
Right.
There's a lot more to it than that. I always go back to comparing things with fighting. Take Stipe Miocic, who is like the top, most decorated heavyweight in UFC history, still has a full-time job as a firefighter.
Right. And I know GB goes, that's not true. Most Europeans have jobs. It's not that I'm saying they don't have jobs. What we're getting at is that their government's kind of, taking care of that too. Our government doesn't do a goddamn thing as far as arm wrestling. But I do want to answer Jay Clean. Jody, as a man who lives in Central Oregon, have you ever seen Bigfoot? And if you have, do you think he could get him interested in arm wrestling too? One thing you need to know about Bigfoot up in this area, and I'm going to say this now, I want everybody to hear me out. Bigfoot in this neck of the woods is the greatest, all-time greatest hide-and-go-seek champion of all time.
So you're saying you've never seen Bigfoot?
I've never seen him, but like I said, he's the greatest hide-and-seek champion. So,
Whew. Bigfoot has, Bigfoot changed his name to Levon.
But
Bigfoot's less hairy than Levon.
That's funny. That's probably true. AEW number 2, Ryan. I sent you that promo. What'd you think about it?
I didn't get to see it, so you tell me about it.
Let me chime in. So AWE, excuse me, not AEW. That's the other wrestling promotion going on now. But this is AWE 2.
Is that the Russian thing?
Huh?
Tell me about AWE.
That is the Ryan Bowen promotion.
Oh, right. Yes.
So they got the second edition coming out, and they got a big ass match. And I'm thinking, wow, it's a nice looking card. So
is that the one where Lachlan's pulling Jordan Seal?
Yes. So it'll be Lachlan pulling Jordan Seal. It'll be Artem Taraneko versus Ryan Bowen. And then for the championship match, it'll be Toddzilla versus Hedo Morris.
Oh, I'll tell you right now, Toddzilla is going to win that match.
Well, I mean, here's the thing, because if you watch that Hedo Morris versus Lachlan Adair match, and Hedo Morris lost convincingly 6-0, even though I thought the rest should have been punched in the mouth for allowing Lachlan to get all that cheating stuff, but that's neither here nor there. I sat there and I was like going, damn, dude, you're going to pull Toddzilla next for the strap? Damn,
Yeah, no good. No good, but I mean, we'll see.
And I'm honestly glad that, Ryan's doing this. And I'm going to sit back and kind of watch from a distance, because now that he didn't kind of, alienate himself from other promotions, how's he stay relevant? How's this going to work out? So I'm kind of interested to see how this goes,
Me too. I'm very curious to see how it goes, because I have an interest in the match, but I won't say more than that.
You could tell me off the air, because I got some stuff for you off the air.
Yeah.
That's neither here nor there. But let's talk about dark card number 2. And before we get into that, guys and girls, if you may, please, like your boy over here and my colleague, go to the ARMWARS section and feel free not only to subscribe, but to become a member, because not only do you get matches, you get other kind of stuff. Probably one of the things I like about that is that after Dark Card number 1, I think there's like 3 chapters or maybe 4, where it's table talk. So all the athletes are like getting on a table or talking shop, technique, this, that, and the other, just amongst themselves. And it's not a seminar thing. It's just like people just talking, giving their inputs and stuff. You got Devin saying, well, instead of doing that, why don't you do that because of this, that, and the other? And then you got somebody like Mendagas Terrasitis goes, no, that's wrong. This is why you should do it because of this, that, and the other. And to hear all these great minds kind of, go at it, not like, go at it, but just kind of, having their own opinions is really cool. It's really cool to see. So I think what we should do is be a member, because I'm telling you, there's going to be some other stuff coming out soon, guys, with your boy involved, sooner rather than later down the road when I was at Iron House number 3. So,
well, let's talk about the undercard matches, Jody, and I'll let you take it away because my focus, of course, was on the battleground.
Right. So, undercard, Craig Sanders took on Kevin Palco of the United States. And
now these ones were free without membership, right?
There was only one that was free, and that was this undercard one.
Yeah.
The one that kicked it off. And Craig Sanders has been around arm wrestling for 100 years. And, he's been a fixture in the England area. And, they say never judge a book by its cover, right? Cool. No big deal. A veteran. I think he took his highest placing at WAF was 2nd, I believe, in the light heavyweight. But nonetheless, he took on Kevin Palco, who just won the Arnold Classic, right? He just came off a win against Roman Grunoff at the Arnold Classic. So, again, you got these guys with these the momentum, riding that rocket ship, right? Cool. He goes there, and he's ready to roll. And you do know he's a cop, right? By trade, he's a cop. Man, I'm getting excited. I'm moving around in my chair. I can't be still. I'm getting excited. 6 rounds, of course. And Ryan, I don't know how many in the chat has been to Arm Wars, but you and I know, because we've been there personally, you and I know that when you go to Arm Wars, a lot of it's more mental than it is physical. Like, you got to be in shape. I'm not saying you got to go train for a marathon. That's not what we're saying. But you really got to be battle tested, because if you're not, it's going to be a long day. So I know Kevin Palco, I know exactly what he was feeling, because watching that match was like watching me, like, damn, I know exactly how that feels. Shit. Kevin Palco, cheers, my man, because I know exactly what you're going through. That guy was battling, and he gave it his all. And Arm Wars is one of those organizations, Ryan, as you know, that you leave everything, and I mean everything, on that table. I don't care if it's sweat. I don't care if it's some of the skin off your elbow. I don't care if it's some of that liquid chalk they use. Did y'all get liquid chalk at a Reality Check?
No, we had like the pails up on the stage, or the containers.
Oh, that's right, because you guys were at the Arnold Europe, weren't you?
We're at the Arnold's, yeah.
Well, we weren't, so we didn't get the chalk. We got the liquid chalk. Have you ever used that before?
I have, yeah. It's all right. They didn't want you making a mess in the house.
Exactly. I think next time I'm gonna put some on my elbow. So, but nonetheless, Craig Sanders wins that one 5-1. But again, it's always, I'm kind of jealous, because here's Kevin, who had Devin in his corner. Devin was in like everyone's corner, which is weird. Even some of the opponents, and he was involved with in the 4-way, he was in their corner. That was weird, but nonetheless, Kevin, this is one of those situations where we talked about this either last show or the show before, and we said, if somebody loses, can you still be able to have a rise in stock if you take a loss? Remember we talked about that?
Yep.
And I think, even though Kevin lost 5-1, I think his stock rose. And I'm telling you right now, it's one of those situations that I know it's hard to believe. I know it's hard that you don't understand that. But when I say this, yeah, it's your stock will rise even in the loss, because he gave it everything he got. the record may say 5-1, but it wasn't like Craig Sanders just walked through him, though. So
Right.
you had to see it to kind of understand that. Then after that, it was like, okay, that match was done. They interviewed both guys. Okay, we're going to shift gears to the actual dark card. Now you had to go be a member, and it's $6.99, I think. And it's $6.99. Come on, right? Now you had 1, 2, 3, 4. You have 5 matches. Okay. Now, first matchup. How much do you know about Daniel Christensen?
Quite a bit, because I almost ended up arm wrestling him at Arm Gods, and then again, Neil
At
was
Arm Gods?
talking about
You almost went to Arm Gods?
almost, yeah.
What happened?
Short notice offer. I mean, it seems like the only ones that get a chance to prepare for those things are Evan Burgoyne and those guys.
Must be nice. So his first and these the Battleground 4-way guys were all left-handed, by the way. So let's keep that in mind. So the first matchup in the Battleground was Daniel Christensen and Terrence Opperman. We haven't seen him in a long time, right? He's from South Africa. Haven't seen the guy in like years, and he used to be a fixture on ARMWARS, but he's not a stranger to this kind of format. If you go back in Bulgaria, it's on there. There was an 8-man battleground in 2012, I believe, and it featured him. He was in that. It was like Trubin when he was 209 pounds. It was Trubin, Brzezinski, Hutchings, Arsen Liliev, Krasimir, Terrence Opperman. I can't remember the other two, but those were 8 guys involved in that kind of format. So it's not like he's, doesn't know what he's doing, right? So those guys go at it. I'm watching, and again, once you get to your 4 wins, you've already won. But sometimes there's 2 ways you can look at things. If you ever go to a 6-round match and you win 4, right? Do you say, fuck it, I'm going to go ahead and try to 6-0 this guy? Or do you go, yeah, you know what, I'm just go ahead and let you have these because I want to save myself because I'm still going to pull, right? What would you do in that situation?
If I had to face the winner of Devin Larratt and Mindaugas Dulskis next, I would probably lay down the last 2 matches.
So you watched the match. Do you think it was a mistake once Christensen hit 4 wins that he was still trying to go for it?
No, because I don't think it would have mattered, if I'm being honest. So he would have given him a little bit more in the tank probably going into the final match. I mean, Terrence made him work. Like, it wasn't easy, but it wasn't like incredibly hard either. So where did Terrence get all this confidence from for what he did at the very end of the show? I don't know, but he had a lot of it, even though he got his ass kicked pretty bad by Daniel, the young and up-and-coming guy, after being on an 8-year layoff and pulling in the super heavyweight division.
Right.
So
now, here's the thing, Ryan, because I'm looking at this and I understand, and David, good, should have laid down silly decision to pull 6. I get it, but it's not like when you're there to ARMWARS, and I think you and I talked about this before, Ryan, where we kind of compared 6 rounds of ARMWARS compared to 6 rounds of King of the Table, where we've seen Gabriella lady kind of say, hey, I got my 4 wins, I'm good, I'm hurt, whatever, I'm good, I'm done. We've seen that before. We've seen where 6 rounds, hey, if I'm up 4-0, I should just go ahead and just, screw it. 6-0 his ass, leave no doubt. Or, hey, I got the win, I don't want to risk injury, especially if you got another match coming up. Now, I get that.
One sec. Jay Clean, I don't want to bury the lead, so I'll get to that part of the story. But go on, Jody.
What happened?
He's asking what was happened at the end. I think he's talking about when I said Terrence had a bunch of confidence after the whole event. But I'll get to that part.
Okay. So Christensen's up 4-0. So technically he's won. He's already advanced to the championship of the Battleground. but for some reason he still keeps going. Terrence is almost kind of like me, like, okay, hey, I found something. I'm like that. I'm like that old 1971 Oldsmobile that you got to warm up first before you put in gear and go. You got to warm it up, you know. The last two matches, Terrence found a lane, and that confidence, as you're alluding to, that kind of morphed into his next match with the loser of Devin Larratt, Mindaugas, Doskis. I was excited about this match because I was like, oh, okay,
Well,
here we go.
let's talk about Devin versus Mindaugas first.
What are your thoughts on that?
I've never seen Devin hit like that before. Like it was not close. Like either, I don't know, these guys, they're not the same level. They're not close to the same level. Devin hit and flash pinned Mindaugas when he felt like doing it. He never really got in the match.
I saw one or two things, why he did that. You notice when Devin pulls right hand, he doesn't really hit.
No.
It's like, I'm going to stop you, I'm going to drain you out, and I'm going to talk to you, and I'm going to bury you. Because he has all the confidence in the world. He's been to the top of the peak with that right arm. Hasn't really with the left in comparison, by the way, So I saw Devin do that. And by the way, guys, if you want to see that match, once again, feel free to go ahead and become a member of ARMWARS. I think Phil Woody put the link in this chat right here. Again, I think that Devin is probably the most calculated arm wrestler there is right now. And I think he was calculating himself because if I'm reading this correctly, I think Devin goes, I'm going to flash this guy 2-0. Because then if I happen to go inside and try to drain somebody out, at least I have a 2-0 cushion, where if I do this against Mindaugas, match 1, and it doesn't work out, now he's scrapping from behind. And he didn't give all that confidence, to Mindaugas. That's what I saw. What'd you see?
The exact same thing. I was checking out a couple of these comments, though. I mean, Jay saying opinion that Devin was never a true number one on the left. But David here saying that Devin pulled Sanders left, it would have been closer with these guys, thus Neil's matchmaking. Yes, if the Devin that pulled Sanders showed up, it would have been closer. No one expected Devin to show up in potentially best form lefty. And Jay, of course, is counter-arguing, saying he didn't show up in best form. He pulled people on the lower level. That's the problem with Devin's approach to the left arm. It's not a problem for him. It's a problem for us when we're trying to analyze and make matches because we don't have any data, because Devin pulls so sporadically with the left arm. And we don't really have a good gauge of where he's at. And on the flip side of that, I don't know where the guys that he was pulling are really at, because I've never seen them against the true top tier guys. We have the one match with Daniel Christensen pulling Tomlinson and dominating that match.
Where can I find that match? And I was looking for that. I couldn't find it.
It's out there somewhere. I had watched it not that long ago, actually, when I got offered that match. I was trying to find some matches to analyze that data.
Do you remember what event that was at?
It was I believe it was in California somewhere.
So it must be one of those UAL matches then.
I think so. So where are we at with this? Devin goes in there, dominates basically Mindaugas.
Yeah, and the Mindaugas look like, okay. Basically Devin 6-0'd him. But the way he did it was like, well, crap. The only guy I thought that would have gave Devin a challenge, he just whipped 6-0. I'm thinking, okay, this is going to be like a day at the park, because you never got to see Devin versus Terrence. You never got to see Christensen versus Mindaugas. So, because in this 8-man battleground, everybody, how this works out, the 2 winners advance for first and second, and the 2 losers of the first round match go to the B side, and they've pull for third and fourth. So in that scenario, there's 2 matches you didn't see. So with that being said, 6-0 Devin. Those guys advance. In the middle, though, Elliot Eccles and Adam Johnston. And I'm going to tell you right now, 21-year-old Elliot Eccles is going to be the future of arm wrestling in that area. That is my gut feeling. I know this firsthand. Yes, I know firsthand. I'm just going to say this. When I was in ARMWARS, yeah, legit.
Yeah.
Guys, what'd you think?
I have no reason to disagree with anything you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was right-handed. And I think he's dominant right.
So GB, we're jumping around a bit. GB says if Devin wants to prove himself lefty, have him go against Laletin, Kurdecha, or Morozov. GB, I would like to see Devin against not even maybe that level. Put him against some of the guys in the top 5 in North America.
I say put him against Cody Merritt, see what happens, or maybe even Corey West.
I understand that match has been lined up a number of times, the Cody Merritt match, and has been canceled for various reasons. But Cody thought that match was happening a couple of times.
And now, the way, Cody's been performing lately, I don't even know if that's even worth watching now, honestly. Nothing against Cody. It's just, man. Before, when Neil had everybody guessing, hey, if you guys guess the 3 people who's going to take on Devin, the winner gets those arm sport handles and that kind of stuff. And I honestly thought that Kurdecha might have been one of them. I honestly did, because that would have been something to be like, oh, okay. I just think that when Devin approaches the table, he puts his opponents at ease. Like, okay, and I'm not saying they submit to him, but he puts his opponent at ease. You didn't see that, aggressiveness in Mendowski's that you saw when he pulled Austin Jaggers. You just didn't see that. Alex is very, very aggressive on the table and very, that would have been interesting to see, but who knows? Maybe we'll see it down the road.
It reminds me of when Travis used to arm wrestle people that we thought the community would think they're a legitimate threat. And by the time they got to the table, they were just happy to be there and, kind of let him have his way.
Yeah. So, but anyway, getting back to Elliot Eccles and Mr. Adam Johnston. Yeah. Elliot Eccles, I mean, dude's about 6'4", right? 21 years old and has this inside hook power that's like phenomenal, right? And I'm telling you right now, that dude, you're going to hear more from him, a lot sooner rather than later. I'm telling you right now, it's going to be, I know for a fact Neil's got big plans for that guy coming up pretty soon because he's earned it. He's done his, yes, he's earned it. Welcome to the big leagues, buddy. Welcome to the big leagues.
Yeah. Now, we got Terrence versus Mendagas. And I watched the match. For some reason, jogged my memory.
Okay.
I don't remember what the hell happened.
I can tell you what happened. Actually, it was kind of back and forth for the most part. It seemed like those, like I said, this is where those last 2 matches that Terrence pulled with Christensen kind of played a factor into this one. So let's go ahead and start from the end of the Christensen match. Daniel's up 4-0. Terrence got the last 2, and it wasn't like Daniel laid down. He actually earned those. So now he's got confidence going into this match with Mendagas. Mendagas, you got to remember, got 6-0. So I don't know what it does to your psyche, but Mendagas is fired up. He's a gentle guy off the table. On the table is pretty aggressive. But first match goes to Mendagas, in a hook, kind of sat there. And when you get that big body and your shoulder on someone's, bicep like that, it's kind of hard to, pull through that. So Yes, Jay Clean said Terrence does have a wicked style. It's kind of weird, but it works for him. It didn't work in the first match, kind of worked in the second match. So again, these guys are going back and forth. Terrence wins round 2. Mindy comes back and wins round 3. Terrence comes back where, now it's 2-2. I'm thinking, oh, these guys are going to silver bullet. I get it. Now, this is where I had a Jody moment. Okay. Match 5, it's 2-2. Once again, they go into a hook, and all of a sudden, Terrence is driving, Mindy's kind of stopping him, and then one of those last surges, Mendalga's arm, or excuse me, elbow slides off the pad, and you can clearly say it. He's like, fucking chalk, god dang elbow pad, slipped off the pad. Now, in this sequence, Devin is in Mendalga's corner. He's his corner man. Weird, right? And then Craig
That's
Sanders
weird.
is in Terrence's corner man. But I've been there. That happened to me in my match where fucking chalk, if I had the actual chalk, I could pull on my elbow, but, had his elbow planted, but it wasn't too planted. But you got to remember in that place, I don't know about you, Ryan, but when you go to that particular setting and they got the lights coming down and you're already grinding it out, you're sweating, and then those hot lights from up top and then over here coming at you, you sweat even more. And it's coming down off your face. It's on the pad and stuff. And, you're driving, you're pulling back, you're kind of jockeying for position. And yeah, when Terrence does that last surge, his elbow slid off the pad. I know exactly how you feel, Mindy, so don't be too upset. But I get it, though, Terrence goes up 3-2, and then, Mindy's like all fucked up. And here's Devin in his calm voice. It's okay. Just go ahead. Get control of his wrist. Drag him down. In a, soft, methodical voice, right? Minnie's fired up, goes in there, doesn't work out. Terrence wins 4-2. So I'm like, okay. I mean, honestly, what do you think? Do you think it's a whitewash when someone wins 4-2?
What do you mean? Like nobody really?
Because I want people to understand this. And once again, to understand what I'm talking about, become a member, by the way. Now, you look at it, and we'll use Kevin Palco's match with Craig Sanders, for example. Craig wins 5-1 on paper. And if you did not see the match, but it's on paper, what's your reaction? And you didn't see the match anyway, but what's your reaction when you see a score of, okay, this guy won 5-1?
You think it was domination?
Right, If you didn't see the Terrence Opperman match with Mendalgas, do you think it was domination?
No. Well, if I see just the result,
Mm-hmm.
No, not when it's 4-2. You could assume that, one guy was dominant and then it went up. If you don't know the sequence of the score,
Right,
a 4-2 would look like somebody won the match and kind of didn't give it their all in the last two.
exactly. That can go both ways. But no, I mean, these guys were great. I actually thought after match 4, these guys were going to silver bullet because it kept going back and forth and back and forth. And I thought, okay, here we go. These guys are going, 7 rounds and didn't make it that way, right? No big deal. Those guys, fought their hearts out. What can I say?
I still think those two guys fresh would be an interesting match, more interesting than what we saw.
Yes, I agree. All right. David and Jay Clean got some awesome comments right here. David says, I think it's
forth.
What's that?
Well, they're going back and forth.
Oh, okay. So again, David says, I think it's funny how people diminish Devin's opponents when he dominates them. Happened with Prudnick and Sanders. All of a sudden, they're no longer as good as they once, prior to the match. It's not that. I just think Devin's more battle tested. I don't think his opponents are diminished.
It's a weird scenario because we see this somebody that goes and dominates a whole bunch of people, and then they run into Devin, and they look very, very human.
Right.
So is it a compliment to Devin? Is it an insult to the opponent? Probably more of a compliment that we don't know how good Devin was at that particular point in time. And Devin is a weird one because we don't know, like, all the comments about him thinking that we were getting the guy that pulled Sandra's left-handed going in here, might have skewed our view of him.
Mhm.
So Devin went in there and dominated some really good left-handed arm wrestlers.
I think what it is too, maybe why these comments came out, because we knew about Sandra's, before the match with Devin. We knew about Mindaugas going into a match with Devin. Opperman came off 8 years, so we don't know the latest data. Christensen's been kind of like I said, I didn't know a whole lot about him, so it's kind of like you really weren't sure. And in my opinion, I thought, and I've been wrong before, that I thought Mindaugas would have been the guy of the three that would actually beat Devin or make him work. And that wasn't true. So that just goes to show you how good Devin is preparing for that kind of stuff and just being battle tested. Now, take that same scenario, Ryan, and put it to this. Do we think, and you guys in the chat, I want Jay Clean and David to answer this, especially, even Justin and GB, answer this. Everybody in the chat, answer this right here. Taking that scenario with Jay and, David going back and forth about who's been diminished. Put it to this, and I want Ryan to answer first and you guys in the chat to answer second. Now, take that same scenario when you got Levon coming up, pulling Morozov. If Levon just goes right through him, does that mean that Morozov's not as good now?
I think what it means is that Morozov, there's a gap between first and second, because you can't say that Morozov is, worse than we thought he was, because he is clearly, well, and we're going to find out right away, the number one guy not named Levon. So it's one of those.
I'm just being honest.
It's kind of like the right arm. I mean, Levon is on a level where, you start to think that maybe a guy can give him a match, and then you find out that they can't.
Mm-hmm.
And then you wait for the next guy for that to happen too. But nobody has threatened Levon in a meaningful way in a long time.
No, it's been a while. I think even when Levon beat Gasparini made him look human for a second.
Yeah, that's true.
And everybody's like going, I know Jerry. I swear to God, when Jerry saw that match, Jerry fucking probably went outside and did a somersault for the first time in his entire life. Because I'm telling you right now, what Hermes did, it made, Levon go, oh, shit, hold on. But, he's been 6-0 on everybody. And it wasn't like it was even close.
So we've got, we're doing this whole, we're looking at a lot of things right now, but we got this whole scenario where you have Morozov going against Corey West pretty soon.
I'd rather have, honestly, in my opinion, I'd rather have Morozov focus on that than to have a Levon match, because God damn it, if for some reason, and that match is first, is it not?
Yeah, that match is pretty soon. Like, it's coming up in June.
You know what scares me? I mean, it frightens me. How you doing, Pradeep? How you doing? What scares me is that what you don't want, and I pray to God, knock on wood, it doesn't happen, is that a Morozov has some kind of freak injury or tweaks something in the Levon match where he can't pull Corey. Because that's the match I've been wanting to see for a long, long time now. Right? Because we know what happens. Somebody gets a tweak, and then Hermes and Jerry is supposed to happen last year. And here we are in May of this year. You see what I'm saying? Because Hermes, hey, I'm ready. Then Jerry wasn't. Okay. Then all of a sudden Jerry gets healthy. Hey, I'm ready. But then Hermes wasn't. So it's like, this is what happens, when that kind of stuff, I just don't want to see that happen, because I want to see both guys at their best, and then we'll see what's going on with the left hand. So that's just me, though.
And then Pradeep's talking about Morozov versus Devin. Are we talking both arms? I mean, I'd be interested. Why not? But then you have Devin, who, well, I'm not even going to bring in the Denis Saplenkov match because that wasn't the same human being we're talking about right now.
No.
In
But I tell you
either
what, though,
gentleman's, current form.
It's only time will tell when you'll see Dennis back on the table, and God forbid you'll see Alexei Vavoda back on the table.
Now, David says Corey pins Morozov rounds 1 and 2. If that happens, I'm going to have serious questions about his chances with Levon.
Well, no, the Corey match with Morozov happens after Levon, doesn't it?
I thought the Morozov match was with Corey West was right away. Hang on.
Is that in July or June?
Let's find out. Corey could barely beat Farid. Interesting, but
Because I'm thinking if it's Corey pulling Morozov first, and then Morozov pulls Levon after, then fuck it. Then my whole theory changes then. So if that's the case, then never mind what I said about knocking on wood, because to me, that's the match I want to see. But like I said, that's king of the table, right?
that is king of the table.
Yeah. So and everybody's saying that's probably one of the best king of tables up to date. So yeah, I think you may be right. Maybe that match comes before Levon. Because I'm like going, man,
It's on the same card as Devin and Dave Chafee, which is June 24th.
Yeah, okay. So it's June, and then also it's Coach Ray versus Ingen. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Wow, Ingen's going to a king of the table match? That's weird. But I like the matchup, though. I like the matchup.
I like it a lot.
So anyway, we get to the championship round of the four-man battle, and it's for first and second place. Devin versus Daniel Christensen. What were your thoughts going into this match?
Poor Daniel. I thought that guy's like, okay, you collect all the data, right? So you have Devin and you have Daniel going in.
Yeah.
So now I'm analyzing the losers bracket, for lack of a better term.
Mm-hmm.
How are they going to do against each other? And you essentially have, an even match. But then you compare them to the guys that beat them. Devin destroyed somebody, and Daniel had his work cut out for him a little bit and worked a whole lot harder. So going into that final match, I'm like, oh my God, like this guy's in trouble. And it turns out nothing was different than that initial thought.
I had chuckled for a bit because after the matches and Neil kind of interviews the pullers, and he interviewed Devin after his match with Mendaugas, and he goes, "Hey, Dan, you might have a chance now. I'm all gassed out," and I kind of chuckled, like going, "My man's kayfabing the entire time," So I thought that was interesting.
What do you think goes on in Daniel's head when he knows how hard he just had to work, and he saw Devin just annihilate a guy that he has had tough times with in the past?
He probably said, "Oh shit," but he wouldn't show it to you.
And then you have to fake it. You have to fake a level of confidence going into the final match.
Okay, hold on. I don't want nobody getting on here saying the matches were fake.
No, you got to fake your confidence level. Like
right.
you have to make everyone believe that you think you can win, even though you probably know you can't. You know what I'm saying?
It takes a certain mentality, because and I still want to see Devin versus Hermes, by the way. You're not going to psych certain people out, right? Devin has psyched out 95% of his opponents, right? He ain't going to psych out Dennis. He ain't going to psych out Levon. I don't think he'll psych out Hermes, right? It takes guy, man. Up until this point, I thought Prudnick was like stone cold, and fucking Devin got in his face and did he did. He fell apart after match 1. And I still think that was a pin, by the way, but whatever. But, I think that, when Devin's against somebody that he can't psych out, then Devin has to go to plan B and maybe plan C. And that's when Devin can get a little erratic on the table.
And he never had to go there.
Right. You saw when he pulled Levon and the mind games didn't work. Levon was like, yeah, all right, whatever. I'm just too powerful for you. Then Devin's like, okay, now his back's against the wall. He has to like figure out something, That's just me though.
Dan Woodley, interesting comment. Devin was on the card for views. Yes. At no point did I think he would lose. Fair point. I think that the guys that were there, I at least found it interesting. They probably believed they could win. Right up until that referee said go the first match that he had with Mendagas.
Well, like I said, I thought Mendagas would have had some teeth for him. But
that's the challenge of matchmaking. Like Neil picked some very, very good arm wrestlers to put Devin against. So now Devin, you have this issue with him because you put him in the mix. He's now back in the mix, both arms. You could put Devin, like his left arm is healthy. I know he says he doesn't train at all that stuff, but the body has a way of equalizing out everything he's doing with the right arm, and he still arm wrestles with it. So that's training.
Well, not only that, but he may say, "Oh, I haven't trained a lot," but there's no injuries though either.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of wear and tear on that arm like it is on the right.
Oof. Okay. Apparently Larry pinned Mendagas while sparring a few times.
Oh, there you go. Was it legit sparring or what? I mean, I only say that because, I've pinned some people sparring, but it doesn't mean I can beat them, That's just,
Does he really psych Dan Plexman? Does he really psych out anyone? Professionals don't get psyched. Dan, I could not disagree with you more. Devin can psych out his opponents no matter what level they're at. You can almost see a point where he can mentally break people. He's very good at it, probably the best. The one guy that might give him a run for his money is Travis back in the day.
And Travis made Devin look like he couldn't do anything.
Yeah. Yeah.
But again, like I said, if you watch that Devin versus Prudnick match, the amount of psychness he did was textbook because Prudnick, not that he's a talker anyway, but you can just tell in his body language, he was done.
Yeah. But you also, I mean, he did it to Dave Chafee. He got anytime you can get somebody out of their normal mindset, it's psyching them out. It's changing something in that person. So, yeah, they're not just going to start mentally breaking down. But, when you hold, let's take Matt Mask, for example, and Devin says, pin yourself and holds him in that first match. Man, there's something that happens in the opponent's mind and they just stop believing they have a chance to win.
Well, with Matt, yeah, Devin psyched him out. But if you look back at that, though, Matt's like, oh, we need 3 elbow fouls for loss. Fine. 1, 2, 3, let's go. And Devin's like, yes, 1 more year. And Matt's like, okay, you got me here. I am not going to fight. And we know Devin's just sit there and drain. I'm not going to fight like that.
Yeah.
I'm going to waste every energy I got in my tank. I'm going to just go ahead and go elbow, 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 match over. You got the first win. Let's go again.
Yeah. Hey, there's one thing I'm very happy about, though, Jody.
What's that?
We're not sitting here bitching about Devin's antics on the table for once. We're talking about actual arm wrestling.
Maybe he's learned from that.
Maybe he was just didn't have to. Well, like you said, he didn't have to resort back to it.
But if you notice, though, he really didn't do that in the dark card 1 versus Sanders. He doesn't put. I mean, Those referees over there, they don't play that stuff over there.
Yeah, I don't know.
They don't.
Yeah. Okay, here's one. So the Sonev match coming up. E-Ton said that will tell us a lot, and I forgot about that. But yes, that is coming up too. The Sonev
highlight
match
that.
left-handed. That will tell us a lot.
That's left-handed, right?
That's a left-handed match.
Okay, that's the one where he walked through Matt Mass, yes?
Yeah, but I mean, Matt admittedly is not like an elite left-handed arm wrestler.
No, didn't they pull right-handed though at that event?
They did. They pulled both, I think.
Because I thought that was the same event where Sonov pulled Matt right-handed and he pulled Mike Gould left-handed.
Right.
Same event.
Yeah, you're right. Sonev's left, like I pulled it back in 18 at the Moldova event.
Mm-hmm.
But apparently he's gained leaps and bounds over the last few years, and he's a bigger, heavier guy now.
Right. Well,
you know, Neil toyed with the idea of bringing me over for a Devin Lair match at one point with the left.
Woo! Can you imagine knowing that would happen, knowing how you feel about the guy? That would have been funny. That would have been. When is Ryan going back to ARMWARS?
Well, I can't tell you anything on the air, Jody, but I got some, not necessarily ARMWARS, but there's some stuff happening. And
well, funny you should say
3.5 minutes, I will tell you all about it.
That's funny because touche, my friend, touche. Can't say it on the air, but whatever. We'll
yeah.
we will go from there. Sorry, guys. I know there's stuff that Ryan and I do talk about off the air. Sorry about that. You know, we just don't want to break down the fourth wall. We still got to be kayfabe around here sometimes. So,
Dan, I'm going back to distance running.
Yeah, there you go. You know, so yeah, that's cool. But other than that, guys, if you're an arm wrestling fan like we are, then you know, feel free to go to ARMWARS, check out the members edition, become a member, and there'll be a lot more stuff because rumor has it that there were some guys that ended up pulling right-handed of those 4 guys.
And sometimes those matches are only available to members. Yes. They never get released anywhere else.
And I'm going to go ahead and say this. ARMWARS Iron House 3, the one I was at, there is some matches that are going to start coming out that it'll be for members. And I'm telling you, there were some matches there. I was like, are you shitting me? Yes. And you had to be there live and go, what the fuck? You know, so stay tuned for that. They're going to start releasing those pretty soon. So I believe on Fridays, like they normally do. And I like how they do that because sometimes arm wrestling can have a down period, like a dead week. It's like, oh, what's going on? We're like in between big events or whatever. There's nothing going on. You can always count on ARMWARS because they'll release something on Friday. There's always a match we can talk about. So,
what do we have coming up next weekend?
Fuck. Do we have another national here?
One of the, the monthly national championship that happens.
And it was funny. One of my teammates goes, and we were talking about this, and he was like, "Oh, you forgot about the national I had in my backyard a couple weeks ago." I was like, "Oh yeah, I forgot about that one." So that was just a running joke.
Hey, before
I know we got some stuff coming up. There's also, I'll have you know, did you the board? It's not Border Wars, but it's like a border thing where it's United States versus Mexico. Did you see that one?
I did. I saw some photos from it. Butcher went down to that, I think. Pat Callan.
Yeah, so that's going to be in July. Got an invitation to go, but
that's another one. No, there was another tournament that just happened in Mexico. That a WAF one.
This is the one I'm talking about.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's happening July 8th. Did you see the entry for each arm is $10, and then for both arms is $15?
That's cheap. That's
right. You know, So that's going to be Mexicali, Baja, California. Again, open. There's only 4 classes: 80 kilo, 90 kilo, 100, and 100 and above. There's your weight classes. So tournament plus super matches. That's intriguing to go to. I won't be able to make it this year because I got my basketball camp. My wife and our foundation is putting on 2nd annual, so I'll be actually doing that. But that's intriguing to go to. Never been to Mexico, and you know what? Anytime that you got some USA versus Mexico, or South America versus North America, whatever you want to put down on there, that's pretty cool. They can't debit North America because I think Simon's involved with that kind of thing, where he takes a group of Team USA people down there. So we really can't call it that. So
yeah, whatever. we got the Nationals coming up in Canada on July long weekend, which is the first weekend in July.
Where's that, Edmonton?
Nope, that is in Nova Scotia. Ooh. On the East Coast.
Is that Uncle John territory?
It's not far. He's going to be there.
I would imagine. Why would he not?
So we have Mark McPhail's putting on the event in Sydney, Nova Scotia, which is on Cape Breton Island. Mm-hmm. It's a 2-day-long event plus a seminar by Devin Larratt at the end of the event. I believe it's on the Monday. I could be wrong about that. But, yeah, lots going on.
Dan Willie, I'm going to answer your question. No, Travis is not scared Jeff Frank. Jeff Frank is now sticking his toe in the MMA water. So that's
listen, Dan. Jeff and I have been talking. He's contemplating making a return to, I don't know if he wants to be saying anything, but we're just talking. And we're talking about him possibly putting on an arm wrestling tournament.
Does he want the rematch with me?
Possibly. Maybe he wants you in the cage instead.
I'll probably lose right there. No,
it'd
be kind of
cool. I
hope
hope Jeff Frank gets a fight booked soon because I want to talk about that when it happens.
Yes, I do. That'd be interesting. It's always good to see our brethren from our arm wrestling community do another sport and see how it goes.
Yeah.
Because I'm telling you, right? I mean, was it 2018, 2019? Something happened. And COVID might have wiped that out. But remember that big, huge event that he was going to put on in Red Deer?
Yeah, like a ton of super matches, like 2 days worth of, like they made the East versus West card looked miniature in comparison. Like there was 30 or 40 matches going on. It was plus a tournament.
Yeah. I was on that card. I know you were on that card. And it was like, wow, damn, it's almost like it's like it was 2-day event, right? And I'm sure that fucker would have went to a 3rd day, honestly. And it was almost like the Woodstock of arm wrestling. Like, man, it just
if that happened, I think Jeff would have needed to take out another mortgage on his house to pay for it because there was a lot of expensive attendees. Even Travis, I believe, was booked to commentate.
Yeah, so that would have been nice. That would have been one for the ages if that thing would have, went down like that.
Some great arm wrestling and probably a lot of controversy at the end.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hope Jeff does come back, but I know he's focused on MMA right now. So, guys and girls in the chat, that's where Jeff Frank is. So, but like Ryan said, hopefully he gets a match, and we can talk about that too.
Yeah. All right, my friend, time to jump off here, but don't leave because we have some stuff to talk about in secret.
Everybody, thanks for joining us on the show. Thanks for chiming in on the Tuesday. And you know what? Next week, it'll be another Tuesday because you guys had what? Canada Flag Day? Was it Canada Day?
Victoria Day, which is
Victoria Day yesterday. In the United States, it's Memorial Day next Monday, so we will not be on. A lot of barbecuing and beer drinking next Monday for us U.S. guys. But we will return a week from today on Tuesday. And you all know, because arm wrestling is that big now, some way, somehow, something's going to happen. There'll be a topic, and we will be on that. So,
yep.
Thanks,
Until
everybody.
then, see you next Tuesday.